if you hear me.
What's happening, good people, and welcome back for another episode of Holler If You Hear Me's Hot Takes, where we pick some of the wildest takes from the interweb, namely Reddit, where dum-dums think that they know everything. Yes, we'll be deciding if this is a hot take worthy of a WrestleMania main card, or should be put in a dumpster at the back of the Performance Centre. I'm your humble host, Fraz, and joining me this week I have the esteemed Mr. Andi Nero, the Kayfabe Assassin. Unfortunately, Dirty Dave, the ring historian, is on holiday, seeking pleasure somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. But, ladies and gentlemen, have no fear, we will hold up our end of the bargain. We'll be bringing you some savage opinions on these hot takes. But you know the drill. Before you can proceed, you must like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Without further ado, Andy, how are you, my friend?
I'm looking forward to these hot takes or not takes, if you will. And Dave, okay, so here's my first hot take. Dave's sending a lot of shorts pics to us with his little hot pants on while he's on holiday. And I'm seeing a lot more of Dave than I ever really wanted or needed to, but hey, I'm here for it. But there's the hot take
love
for
it.
me.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Oi, do you want to know a hot take?
Go for it.
Totally off topic. Other night, thinking, I could murder a kebab. When I say the other night, I mean I could murder a kebab every night.
Any night.
I'm on Deliveroo, I'm looking. I'm going to shout out Kebab and Pizza King over Nacton Way. I ordered this, right? Chicken shish and chicken doner combination, large as you can get, with cheesy chips, chili sauce, garlic mayo, salad, the works. Beautiful, right? Absolutely salivating. Thinking it's going to take between 45 and 60 minutes. I'm not even exaggerating. 10 minutes past, knock on the door. Think it's an Amazon driver. That's my main man from Uber Eats or Deliveroo. He's got my kebab. Never in my life has food been so welcomed as that night. Jesus. So,
Wow.
Kebab and Pizza King over Nacton Way.
If they want to sponsor us, we'll be very, very accepting of anything they can contribute. We'll shout them out. I'll tag them. I'll put a little thing out for them on Twitter and stuff.
Big time. I will die a happy man if that happens. Seriously, I'll wear the t-shirts on every show. Up the Kebab and Pizza King. So if you haven't quite grasped the concept of this show, we are literally dissecting people's hot takes, or as Andy says, not takes. Me and Dave did one last week as Andy was away working. This week, Dave's on holiday and Andy is joining me, and next week, hopefully, all three of us will be together as one. So without further ado, first one I've got here. The women's IC and US titles weren't needed. Just use your mid-card and put them in stories that don't involve a belt.
I think what they were trying to do, because obviously these belts have only been around for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to establish parity with the men, and that's why obviously we got the change to the Women's World Championship and the Women's WWE Championship. Equality is great, but it doesn't need to be on everything. You know, you're absolutely right. I don't even think we really need women's tag belts. I don't hate them, but most of the tag teams that we get out of the women's division seem to be just, oh, you and you can work together because you haven't done anything for a while. But yeah, I'm inclined to agree with this take. The IC titles, the US titles, they weren't needed 20 odd years ago. They weren't needed 10 years ago. Why are they needed now?
Devil's advocate here. I'm just going to say, well, it's equal, isn't it? Why do the men have to have Intercontinental and US titles and the women can't? It's prestigious belts. You need time to build up the prestigiousness of said titles. You're talking about tag titles as well. I will touch on that briefly. Book it right. You know, get some interest. You can't just slap teams together and go, this team is going to dominate for 6 months. It gets stale. You know, build stories up in the background. You will have the payoff if you book it right. And it's the same with the... just look at the US title. Chelsea Green, super over, right? But the people she's fighting, you don't care about. So you're not going to care about Chelsea Green being the champ. They give it to Selena Vega.
And
no one cares about her.
Yeah. I do have high hopes for Julia as the US champion. I hope they do something. I read something the other day, another hot take that I saw was similar to this. That the booking for Julia needs to be so much better than they've done for Zelina Vega. The best way to do that, open challenge. Go back to the old school John Cena US title days. Have a Julia US Open challenge for any woman on any brand to come in and face arguably one of the best female wrestlers on the planet for her strap. And it will get Julia over massively.
Agreed, yeah. It doesn't have to be an open challenge. Just put her in with someone that's relatively over. But they're doing exactly the same thing with Julia as they've done with Selena Vega. She hasn't been on TV for like 2 weeks. So it stinks. But then on the other side of it, IC title, you've got people like Dave that have not been interested in anything Becky does because she's super annoying and perhaps she's not the best in ring, not the best on the mic, but she's doing her best work as a heel, as the IC champ. And although Lyra Valkyria is slightly annoying on the mic, well, slightly might be an understatement, but she's fantastic in the ring. You add Bayley to the mix, you have interest there. And although it might have gone on longer than perhaps some might want, it still sparks your interest. You're not going to turn the TV off. But then if you've got something like Selena Vega and Julia on TV, you're like, well,
Click.
I can go for a piss. Yeah. Or I can go and check what's going on with the women's football. Up the England Lioness. Come on, girls. Yeah, moving on to the next one. I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, okay. So, quote, I think, hypothetically speaking, if The Rock was head of creative, he would have done a much better job than Triple H. I agree that he's messed storylines up with his ego, but he gave us much watch TV every week in the build to WrestleMania.
The best stuff WWE has done in 10-15 years, if he had his undivided attention to head of creative and possibly an authoritarian role like Mr. McMahon, it would be better than what we have now.
I didn't know if you want me to do the whole quote, so that's why I stopped.
The whole quote. Yeah, let's give them their props.
Everything now. Okay. You hope.
Well, I disagree with this statement because The Rock is a Hollywood movie star and probably spends 20% of his time, if that, creative-wise, with the WWE. Why would you want someone that they're part-time, like, booking the storylines for us? It's awful. I think it's like anything, and you can compare football. So look at someone, a manager of some sort that's done really well for years with a football team, and then perhaps they have a run of bad results or get relegated. Are you completely ignoring their body of work prior to the 6 months of shit? Because, yes, Triple H has to take accountability for some of the poor booking and the poor storylines that we've seen over the last year. However, when he took over from Vince, you couldn't say a bad word about him. So for me, it's a little bit like, okay, let's not look past the good work that he's done. He gave us possibly one of the best WrestleManias we've had in recent years, in 40. There's been some great storylines. Perhaps it's time to delegate some of, and I think I've spoken about this in close quarters with you guys, delegate writers or people to look after the mid card, to look after the lower card. So there are stories there for you to be invested in. even if it is someone like Tozawa against Rusev, you know, make something of it so you're actually interested in it and don't forget about it. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, for example, is a perfect example of what he's done, where he's built this story up, where we're all invested, we're all waiting for the big payoff match between the two, and then this week on Raw, Grayson Waller said, Austin Theory's injured, we're done. And then moves on. And you're talking about an authoritarian role of having a TV character like Mr. McMahon. Well, The Rock's not going to be there, is he? So how can he play that role? He already does that now. Mm-hmm. And I, for one, don't want to see the attention taken away from the talent and having Triple H on the show every week. That would be cool for a few months, I guess. But it's not like he's going to do anything revolutionary that we haven't seen before from Vince. Like, just let the wrestlers do their work. That's my thoughts on the matter anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, yeah, I agree with what you're saying completely. It's very much a case of what have you done for me lately, I think, with a lot of people, though. Or what the people need to realise in the IWC is, you know, that's all well and good. Some of the stuff that Hunter's been putting forward recently has been a bit of a damp squib, like what you alluded to, the A-Town Down Under situation. But, by and large, Hunter's body of work since NXT has been pretty golden, you know. I agree with you. Maybe he could delegate a bit. Obviously, we know that Sean, Mr. Higginbotham, is in charge of NXT and NXT Creative and everything that's going on there. And I think even up to a point, their dealings with TNA, there's no reason why he couldn't hand that off to someone like Road Dogg, say to Sean, come up to them, or hand it off to someone like Regal. Give William Regal NXT and let him run that like he used to. And then Sean can come up and look after SmackDown. Road Dogg can look after Raw. They can then have their staff underneath them who report to them on individual stories and individual developments. And Hunter, can have the overriding, you know, stamp of approval on anything big that happens, you know. Yeah. But the week-to-week running of the shows, the house shows, etc., the storyline, meat and veg sort of thing, can be just run by the underlings. But yeah, maybe he's learnt a bit too much from Vince in the sense that he wants to be ultimately in control of everything. But
absolutely,
we won't know.
Not a bad thing in my opinion. Okay, let's move on to the next one. For me, I truly believe that the most overrated person in the WWE right now is Rhea Ripley. She's pushed way too hard and is beloved by the fans mainly due to her look. She has ruined several other women during their push, like Liv Morgan as women's champ, and is often booked poorly, such as constantly interfering or coming out to have a fight. She isn't a good promo and is good in the ring, but mainly gets by due to her look. She's a good person outside the ring, but I think she's really overrated as a talent. I think this person might be sexually frustrated.
I think what this person is smoking, I would like to have some of. Don't get me wrong, is Rhea Ripley the living embodiment of Kurt Angle reincarnated inside a woman's body? No, she's not a great wrestler, but she's a character and a gimmick that is massively over. You know, Hulk Hogan wasn't exactly the best wrestler in the world or even in the top 100, but he still had one of the greatest characters of the 80s and 90s. So they gave him the ball and he ran with it, you know. Yeah. Okay, so fair enough, to compare Rhea Ripley to Hulk Hogan is a bit of a stretch, but, you know, Liv Morgan would not feel anywhere near as important as she does to Monday Night Raw were it not for the feud that her and Rhea had over the belt, over Dominic, over that whole scenario. I think everything Liv did before that was kind of just okay. She is a good promo. I won't have that. She is a decent promo. She gets her beats in. She's lovely. And yeah, I can't agree with this person. Yes, she's perhaps overrated, But she's not the most overrated person in WWE, not by a long shot.
I think she's bang average. I tend to agree with this person. I think she does get by a lot on how cool she is. And I think that sooner rather than later, fans will turn on her because she is being shoved down our throats. But why wouldn't you if she's over? And lots of people find her, lots of gentlemen find her attractive, and ladies. There's nothing wrong with that. But is she the best wrestler? No. Is she the best promo? No. I just would like to see her have a long-standing feud with someone that doesn't involve the title, or even she's now in a position where she could help up-and-coming talent. And it's not her fault because she doesn't book herself. But that was what I would like to see from Rhea Ripley.
That's probably fair.
You're next, my man.
Quote, I want an LA Knight world title run. Honestly, it's got to be backstage politics or personal dislike for the guy. He's been over with the crowd for almost 3 years now, cuts better promos than almost all of the top guys except Punk and Cena, and is all over WWE merch like Slim Jim and WWE 2K. He deserves a clean win over at least one top guy before he retires.
Very interesting that question fell to me first. I agree with the fact that he has been over for a very long time, and he's probably more over now than he's ever been. And I will be fair in my assessment of Mr. Knight. I feel that he is one of those wrestlers that is right place, wrong time. It's just, it never falls for him. Like, he's built this momentum up. You kind of thought that he was going to win Money in the Bank. Didn't. Started feuding with Seth. Seth's got injured. Wasn't on TV the last week. What's he going to do now?
I think he had a ad break segment or something.
Wasn't on TV this week.
Wasn't on TV, yeah.
What's he going to do now, you know? Very similar to discussions we've had about Sami Zayn. Hugely over. And had it not been for Cody Rhodes, I have no doubt that he would have been the one to take down Roman Reigns back at Elimination Chamber in Toronto. It's just tough luck, isn't it? He's not my cup of tea, but I can see why people like him. He does cut a good promo, and for his age, he's fucking agile in the ring. But perhaps it is personal. Perhaps it is backstage politics. Perhaps they don't want to give him the ball and run with it. I mean, for God's sake, they gave the title to Jey Uso. They've given it back to Gunther. That was a perfect transition to LA Knight if they really wanted him to have the title. And I agree with this person in terms of, yeah, he should I don't know, what did they put? He should be at least one top guy before he retires. Well, presumably they mean win a world title. And yeah, he probably does deserve to win a world title, even if it is for a couple of months. But I've spoke far too much about LA Knight for my liking. I know your opinions on the man.
Not everyone can be a world champion. We have, I believe, upcoming a excellent video entitled "The Best Wrestlers to Never Win a World Title" that we have in the offing that we are planning. When you look at the list of people that never won the world title, it highlights the fact that not everyone in the world needs to win a world title to be a great. You got people like Owen Hart, you've got people like Mr. Perfect, William Regal, Razor Ramon. All these guys never won the big one, but you wouldn't say they weren't excellent wrestlers. LA Knight is a great wrestler. LA Knight is great on the mic. Does he deserve a world title? Possibly, maybe one. But the LA Knight experiment, which started a couple of years ago at Crown Jewel, it's well past its sell-by date now. And if the Jey Uso experiment is anything to go by, I don't think they're going to give a world title to another non-established world title caliber person, if that makes any sense. Not for a long time. Not until something drastically changes in terms of viewership or ratings or just overall feeling, merch sales, whatever metric they use to decide who's going to be the champ. I don't see it, because the way they handled the Jey Uso title run suggests to me that there was no faith in that title run. They thought, this guy's over as hell, let's strap the rocket to him, let's strap the belt on him and see what happens. And as it turned out, it was a lot of this. It was a lot of four letters, one word, yeet. And that was about it. One title defense or two title defenses. And it just, I just don't see it happening for LA Knight anytime soon. But I
Who knows?
who knows?
Who knows? Logan Paul and Jelly Roll's segment on Jimmy Kimmel's show takes you back to the good old days. Lawler and Kaufman, Leno with Hogan and Bischoff. Good stuff. Did you see said segment?
I've
Andy?
seen said segment, yes. There was a quote, I think it was either Kevin Nash or someone like that, said recently, having someone who looks like they belong nowhere near a wrestling ring being able to quote-unquote hang with WWE superstars damages the superstar's credibility. Jelly Roll does not look like a wrestler. It remains to be seen. I know he's a big fan of the wrestling. It remains to be seen. We'll see it obviously at SummerSlam or whenever they're having their match. He looks
the
like
wrestling.
Yeah, he looks like me in a big jacket, and it's been a long time since I got in the ring, and I don't think he belongs in there with the likes of Randy and Drew. I mean, realistically, Drew could kick his head off, and Randy's Randy. He could also kick his head off. Logan maybe crosses that border, and don't get me wrong, I get it. Lawler and Kaufman, Leno with Hogan and Bischoff, Malone and Rodman with Hogan and DDP. These are all people that, like I say, except for the
Lawrence Taylor,
LT and Bam Bam, yeah.
Walter Payton and Razor Ramon, to name a few.
There have been non-wrestlers that have held their own. I don't think Jelly Roll is one of them.
Well, I will intervene and say I am thoroughly enjoying this Jelly Orton, I think Dave called it last week.
Jelly Orton.
Or, Randy Roll.
Ray Roll?
The bloke has lost a considerable amount of weight, which is super commendable. He is a huge wrestling fan. He's friends with The Rock. I mentioned it last week to Dave. Logan Paul is honestly wise beyond his years. He is fantastic. I am all in for him. Whatever they want to do, I'm buying it. The way he sold that chokeslam was fantastic. Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul are both professionals. If you haven't, here's a plug to Impulsive. Watch the interview with Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, and his little mate Mike. It's brilliant. It brings eyes to the product again. All credit for anyone that tries to get into the ring, and Andy, you should appreciate him more than anyone as you've been in the ring. I just think, why not? It doesn't. It's a 2-night event. If they get 15 minutes, brilliant. I want to see Randy. I want to see Drew. I want to see Logan Paul. And I want to see what Jelly Roll does. Hell, everyone is always quick to shit on celebrities that step into the squared circle. Well, one, it takes some serious cojones to do. And two, just look at Bad Bunny. I mean, it's fantastic. And look at Logan Paul. Like, this whole thing, you weren't here for the show last week, but when he came in and said, I'm sick and tired of people like you coming in and trying to do what we do.
Oh, yeah, that was
I mean,
fun.
honestly, this money is genius. Whether he came up with that or not is irrelevant. It just makes him look brilliant. I am all for it. I love it. And any kind of interaction with celebrities, I'm always intrigued to see what happens. So perhaps I'm not a purist at heart, but I am the common man. And for me, that's brilliant.
Well, maybe I'll pump my brakes a bit then and reserve judgment until after the match. But,
Till after the match, yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's a travesty, then you can say I told you so. But until then, we'll move on to the next one, which I quite like this one. This was one of my favourite hot takes. I still say Evolution can be night one of Mania, all women, and the Women's Rumble winner can be the main event.
Yeah. I think if you're, I've got no arguments to the contrary. I think, having Evolution once every sort of 3 to 4 or however many years it was, it might have been 2019 actually. Yeah, we don't need to wait another 4 or 5 years for another Evolution. Stick it on night one. Have WrestleMania night one be Evolution or be the women's WrestleMania. And it gives more levity to that side of things. Yeah, I agree. I concur. Yes.
Yeah, I really enjoy that idea. I think it showcases the women and essentially gives them a platform to show what they can do. It's always been about the gentlemen, and they do get overlooked somewhat at times, but I think Dave said it last week, the triple threat with Bianca, Rhea and Io was possibly the best match on the card for Mania. Only good things can come from that, and I thoroughly enjoyed the Evolution card as well.
I think if you look across all of the industry at the moment, women's wrestling, there is some amazing women's wrestling to watch out there. I know obviously we go on and on about you preferring your hurly-burly men, your big meaty men slapping meat, but even you have turned the corner on people like Naomi, on Io. There's so much good wrestling out there to watch that is from the fairer sex, if you like, from our female sisters, and they could easily put on an all-time classic show for a Mania weekend, and have it compete directly with the men's card, which realistically, if the last Mania is anything to go by, wouldn't be difficult, because I didn't really rate WrestleMania that highly. But yeah.
Watch our prediction show, or no, recap show of WrestleMania.
Recap show of WrestleMania, yeah.
You'll find out exactly what Andy thought. I will just say I am growing as a person.
Aww.
Because I do like the women's wrestling now. It's thoroughly enjoyable. Next.
Do this one? I can do this one.
Oh,
seeing as it is by and large something that is all you.
I saw this straight away and thought this is going on the show.
Kurt freaking Angle would have surpassed Shawn Michaels as the GOAT if he had had a longer tenure in the WWE. Discuss. Yeah.
Obviously, I'll say yes. I agree with this 1,000,000%. However, I didn't realise that Shawn Michaels was the GOAT. I don't know, in-ring ability, if you're saying, can you compare Shawn Michaels to Kurt Angle? Yeah, of course you can. They're amazing. And I've said it many times, what Kurt achieved in his short span in the WWE, in particular his debut year, was fucking thoroughly impressive. To say he surpassed Shawn Michaels as the GOAT, I don't know. I think because Shawn was involved in DX and it was such a generational fad, it was like ingrained in our culture, DX. Would Kurt Angle ever reach those heights? I don't know. But as Kurt Angle is my favourite wrestler and favourite person on the mic, he could play intense, he could play comedy value, he could play the dum-dum, he could play everything. I love him. And yes, I agree with your statement wholeheartedly. And whoever you are out there, you have my thanks.
I think, alluding to what you sort of mentioned about Shawn Michaels being the GOAT, I think if you consider it, obviously everyone's got a personal list, everyone's got a subjective list of who they want on their Mount Rushmore or as their GOAT. Yeah, I think as someone who experienced not only Kurt Angle's WWE career but also followed his TNA career very closely, I think if you looked at that body of work as an entire career, one could say that on the whole, Kurt Angle was better than Shawn Michaels, because Shawn's career was hella long. I'm not going to say it wasn't, obviously starting in the 80s. Yeah, I don't know. It's very 1A 1B for me with these two. I can't really differentiate. I think Shawn's longevity does more for him than Kurt's actual career. It's an impossible one for me to answer, to be honest with you. I'm rambling, so yeah. But
okay.
you're
I'll let
up
you
again.
take the next one. Is it me? Oh, Stephanie Vaquer will grow stale real quick.
Yeah, I saw this on Facebook a couple of times, and I've seen this on Twitter a few times as well, this take. And I'm kind of in agreement. I feel like she's in real danger of becoming a one-beat talent. Her move, the Devil's Kiss, and the fact that she looks the way she does, and the fact that she's cool, I think
Bottom.
Bottom, yeah. I think she's got a nice figure. She looks great. She's also got a really, really over move in terms of the Devil's Kiss. But I don't think many people can probably even say what her finisher is. Everyone knows what the Devil's Kiss is, but nobody knows that the fact that her finisher is the SVB. And they only really... It's riding... Vince always used to say that Bobby Roode was just music, that Enzo Amore was just on the mic, and people like that. She's in danger of crossing that line and becoming just a move or just a thing. And if she doesn't get given some real meaty stories to get involved with soon, she may start to get a little bit stale, and I am worried for that, because she is excellent. She isn't just a body, she's not just a move, she's fucking excellent.
Do you want to watch our video from a couple of weeks ago? I said exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. And my face is smug because you agree. She is just another wrestler. Not necessarily just female, but a wrestler that's being shoved down our throats. It's like Jey Uso, you know, if it sells, it works. And Devil's Kiss, or whatever it's called, the arse move, and the black tape around her arse to accentuate that, is selling. And that's what she's becoming famous for. Who cares if she can speak English or not, if she looks good. I'll go back to the Raw that's just happened on Monday. Incredible match with Io Sky. Why not sell her as a wrestler instead of these gimmicky moves? It's disappointing, but that's the reason why I didn't like her when she came up from NXT, because you could see that was what was happening, and it's happening now. And she's won this battle royal at Evolution. She's fighting Naomi at Clash in Paris. I wouldn't be surprised if she fucking won. You know, but then that makes you think, well, if they're ready to pull the trigger on her, why on earth have they waited so long with LA Knight or with Sami Zayn or with Karrion Kross? You know, what's his name? Aleister Black. There are so many wrestlers that have put in the work, have gotten over, and they've just kind of forgotten about them or left them stale. Whereas someone like Vaquer, who is quality, because, like you say, she's got this one move and she's very, very attractive, they're giving her everything she wants.
Well, yeah.
Let's move on to your hot take. This is Andy's personal hot take. This is not something he's found on the internet. He's created it himself. I wish Dave was here as well.
Oh, I'm sure he'll put a comment in. Okay, here we go. Seth Rollins is the Kevin Nash of the 21st century. Knee issues always lingering in the background, and when he holds the top belt, The product takes a nosedive, as does the viewership. Yes, that is me. I am firmly in belief of that. Prove me wrong.
Well, he's not Kevin Nash, is he? I totally disagree with that statement. He's definitely not Kevin Nash. Seth is cool for a start. Trendsetter.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Big Daddy Cool was Big Daddy Cool. He was cool.
Big Daddy Cool was not Big Daddy Cool. Kevin Nash was cool in the NWO for all of a year, and then it got stale. Yeah. Scott Hall, I was going to say Shawn Michaels. Scott Hall was always the cool one. Even Hollywood Hogan was cooler than Kevin Nash. Yeah. When you delve deep into promos that Nash has done, yes, quality. But Seth Rollins is so much more than that. He can actually wrestle. He can actually have good matches. He makes people look good. He puts people over. You know, I agree with your, what's the word, theory that perhaps when he is given the ball as the top guy, the QB1, you don't have as much interest per se as someone like Roman Reigns. However, you're talking a very small number of people that can do that. I would even say if they gave it to Punk to be the top guy, he would struggle to get over like someone like Roman Reigns would. Roman Reigns is cool. He is very, very, very cool. Dominic Mysterio, very, very, very cool. Bron Breakker, another one.
Very cool.
Doesn't matter what he does, he's very cool. Seth Rollins kind of, I don't know, teeters between that. I want to be the best wrestler. I want to be known for my technical and wrestling ability, but also be a character. Hence his outlandish wardrobe that he has, or his mic work, or he's almost like Chris Jericho. I compare him to in terms of how he adapts his character over the years, and he's never like just one person going all the way through. But to compare him to Kevin Nash is slightly disrespectful, and I love Diesel. I love Diesel all the way through my childhood. When he first entered the NWO as Kevin Nash, quality, and even, you know, nostalgic moments where he comes back to the WWE with Hogan and Scott Hall and around, what was it, 2002?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, quality. But yeah, I just feel that's a bit of a stretch, fucking comparing him to Nash. If your hot take is, as the top guy, he fails, I would agree with you.
I will flesh it out if you'd like. I agree, Seth. I agree that Seth is cool. I think Kev Nash is cool, but the fact is, their knees are shot. Both of them. Both of them have storied problems with their knees. Seth is coming towards the end of his career, and if he's given the top belt, and every time you look at the results, you look at the history behind this theory. Kevin Nash's title run with WWE or WWF in the 90s was a downtime, massive downtime for not just WWF but the entire industry. Seth, when he was WWE champion last, which I think was probably around about 2018, something like that. Mm-hmm. Massive downturn, like the viewership tanked and nobody was interested. Now, whether that's down to the fact that people were absolutely sick and tired of Vince's booking or something else, something intrinsic within Seth Rollins' reign, but eventually AEW came along, the business changed, Vince left, Hunter came in, and we're back where we are again. Putting that strap on Seth with his issues and the fact that he has not a great run with the belt, I think would tank it. But I'm not saying I don't love Seth. I do love Seth. I just think he's not.
No, I know you do. Forward. I absolutely know you do. But again, I go back to let's talk about women's tag team division. You know, you're saying the titles are not relevant, but they're not relevant because they don't have the correct people to feud against. Now, Seth has been, booking. Seth's been given the winner over Roman and Punk because they wanted to align Paul Heyman with him. Then they gave him Money in the Bank. Now, who's to say that after 3 months you can base Seth Rollins' running with the ball and being the top dog? You can't. You just can't do that after 3 months. You don't know who he's going to cash in on. You don't know what's going to come of the faction. Obviously, the injury, the timing. Whether if it is a work, then it will be amazing because he will come back at SummerSlam and he will beat either John Cena or Gunther or CM Punk or Cody Rhodes. And Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed are money. Paul Heyman is money. Seth Rollins is money as well. It's just all about how creative book that. In my humble opinion, as the humble host of the show. But can I swallow this bitter pill that he is comparable to Kevin Nash? No, I can't. Match pace, match quality, pace, even the character work, and as I say, just his reinvention of himself far outweighs the Kevin Nash
moniker.
And has Nash ever had the greatest cash-in of all time?
No. He did have the finger poke of doom.
Oh dear.
There you go. One for the reels.
Yeah, absolutely. I will just say the knee injuries shouldn't even be compared. On paper, Seth's look bad, but he runs circles around fucking Nash.
Oh yeah, in terms of match quality, there's no question.
Okay. Do we need to move on to the next one now?
We can do, yeah. We can move quickly on to the TKO takeover has been ultimately a failure.
Why don't we include the Netflix partnership? Has been So we've got one. The TKO takeover has been a failure, and the Netflix partnership has been a failure. Now I do believe these could be personal ones from Andy, but he assures me
they are.
These are ones
not.
that is. And I will defend you here. I have read very similar.
Do you want me?
This is for me or for you? I think
I'm
because you're quite pro this hot take. I'll let you take it, mate.
So I think we can both agree that the second half of this, the Netflix partnership, has been a failure. Those people need to do some research and ask someone from the UK or internationally what it was like to have to pay for the network and not be able to watch Raw or SmackDown on the network. No, the Netflix partnership has been a success. There are things that I think they can improve on still, but I love the fact that we get to see live the inter-ad break stuff that you would normally not see. You know, the chats, the in the crowd with Karrion Kross or whoever. Some of that's been really, really good. SmackDown does feel a little bit strange because you keep having every 5 minutes that stupid fucking "we'll be right back" shloobie dum 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 blum rolling across the bottom of the screen with Bianca Belair doing that for no reason. That is frustrating, but I'm already paying for Netflix from a financial perspective. I'm already paying for Netflix, so I'm happy to have every PLE there's ever been and every Raw and SmackDown episode going forward. Absolutely disagree. The Netflix partnership has been a complete success. The TKO takeover, however, I will say up till now has been a massive money grab, and as a fan, a failure. For me, as a fan, it's been a failure. I don't want to see Slim Jim labels on the tables. I don't want to see Mountain Dew pitch black matches. I don't want to see fuzzy woozy boozer boozer at WrestleMania. Here we are in the fuzzy wuzzy booth. No one gives a fuck. Just wrestle. Get on with it. Like, I know they're there to make some cash. Rock isn't around because he's making movies. He's invested in the WWE to make some fucking money, and I get that. But you were going to make money anyway, because if the product is good, the people will watch it. The people will watch the adverts that you might have. It's going to make money. You didn't need all this extra shit going on in the background. And that's the frustration for me.
Interesting. I don't mind Slim Jim on tables and ladders. I don't mind Fireball adverts. I really don't even notice it, if I'm being honest. It's just you watch a lot of wrestling content on YouTube and social media. They talk about it a lot as if it takes time away or shine away from the wrestling itself. I think we as fans make something out of nothing, if that makes sense. Are they sort of more focused on money? Yeah, I guess so. It is a business at the end of the day. Do I agree with it? No. Would I rather they make decisions that fans want? Of course. Well, the lion's share of fans. The Netflix thing being a failure, I don't agree with. I love the fact that it's, the production value's gone up. The fact that I can sit there with my 13-year-old son and say, watch something from 2000 or 1999 or whatever, and watch these quality wrestling shows that we all remember when we were younger, is great. And it's all, and you get all of the goodness of Netflix along with it. So I don't think there's any question about Netflix being a failure. TKO, I guess only time will tell. I'm a sort of person that processes information, and something like TKO's takeover you'll need years before you can decide whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, because despite the complaints that we have, in the last 4 months we've created a YouTube channel that's reached thousands of people, and we've got content to talk about every week. And if it wasn't any good, then we wouldn't be doing this. That's where I stand on that, from a personal point of view anyway.
It's fair.
Humbled.
I just don't. I'll be honest with you. My biggest thing as a purist, I don't like all the labels on the mat. I don't particularly like the Riyadh season involvement. I don't like the Slim Jim advert. I don't like the Fireball stuff. I don't like the fact that individual backstage promo segments, are now being sponsored. Go fuck yourself with that shit. It just, to me, it's frustrating because we didn't have it before. We never needed it during the Vince era. I get it was still a publicly limited company under Vince, don't forget. It was still floated, so he still had shareholders to answer to. But now, Nick Khan, Ari, Rock, they're all like, we're going to sponsor the fuck out of this.
Yeah, but why not? But you've got to look at it from a standpoint where, say, for example, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Gunther, Seth Rollins, even Bron Breakker, all left because they weren't getting paid what they should be paid. Now, the product is worse. Yeah. The product would be worse, right?
Yeah.
Now, if they don't have those sponsorship deals, they can't afford to pay these guys the money that they're paying them now. Despite what purists think, it's still wrestling. It's still the same ladder. It's still the same chair. It's still the same table. Still the same ring. It's just got stuff written on it. Now, maybe I'm a little bit naive in the way that I watch wrestling, but I watch it for the storyline, the promos, and the in-ring ability, and something to talk about on here. Whether or not you've got Slim Jim slashed on the side of a ladder, it's not going to make me not watch it or protest to the point where I'm not going to pay for Netflix anymore. That's a ludicrous thought to have. And I'll say it. People are just making something out of nothing. They just want to talk about stuff, and people love to moan. You love to moan, you know. I'll go back. Well, not necessarily yourself. Maybe you do. Maybe you fall into that category. But football, you know, Man City fans have won everything and they've dominated football for 5 years. This season, the season just gone.
Sorry, just to clarify, they haven't won everything though, have they, Fraz? They haven't won everything though, have they? There's only one team that's won everything.
You know what I mean, though, don't you? You know that they've won the Premier League and they've won the Champions League and the various FA Cups and League Cups and dominated possession and made teams look inferior. Well, they've done rubbish last season and people are just quick to moan about it. Like, it's a transitional period, and the TKO takeover is a transitional period for the WWE. Much like Triple H taking the reins off Seth Rollins, Vince McMahon. Yeah, Vince McMahon. It's no different, and it's just the way you look at it. If you look at life with a half glass full attitude, you will see that the product is healthy and very good. Yeah, there are things that I would like to see change, but nothing's perfect.
Rough
you know
with
what I mean?
smooth, perhaps. Yeah.
Other than Kurt Hennig and Bret Hitman Hart. Okay, last one to finish off the video. WWE Unreal is bad for the industry, exposes too much, pulls back the Wizard of Oz's curtain, and reveals nothing but an array of opportunistic charlatans.
I have seen this. Take. I am buzzing for WWE Unreal. I love Netflix's Drive to Survive. As a Formula One fan, I love Drive to Survive. And if they can bring that same energy, that same quality, that same production value to a WWE product and show us everything that goes on. As we alluded to earlier in the video, I have wrestled in the past as a young man and been on shows, so I've seen from an indie perspective how a show is put together by and large. But to see how the WWE gets put together, to see all the negotiations behind the scenes between people like Hunter and The Rock, and how they negotiated the situation about Elimination Chamber and Travis Scott and all of that shit and everything that's happened over the last 12 months or however long they've been filming this, I'm excited for it. And yes, we all know that there's, you know, we're all in on the joke, as it were. We're all in on it. We all understand kayfabe. This idea that exposing the business, it got exposed in 1997 at the Survivor Series. That's when it got exposed. Everything since then has just been willing suspension of disbelief. You know, it's time to give up this whole "you're destroying kayfabe" idea. We all know this. We all know the score. So get on board, or you know, don't, whatever. But WWE Unreal, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. I'm really happy about it. Can't wait. The only thing I will say is people don't like change. And there are still people that are going to dig their heels in and be super stubborn at the fact that, you know, I don't know how you can say the magic will be taken out of wrestling if you watch this show, or because they're broadcasting their secrets. Everyone knows it's scripted. It's 2025. Like, get with the program. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. The fact that people have opinions on things that haven't even happened yet completely perplexes me. I don't know this person who's written this comment. However, if I did, I'd probably say that they're a bit stupid, really. I just don't see how you can pass judgment on something until it actually happens. And when it does, like, if you still feel the same way, that's your opinion. And that's life, isn't it? But for me, I think it would be great to... I always love seeing people out of character. Like, that's why we all watch podcasts and interviews with particular... Well, in our genre of wrestling, you know, You only see their character on screen. The fact that you get to see them be normal,
podcasting with Lanvley or Maven or whoever.
yeah, which is really cool. Like, I don't know if you watch any of the podcasts at WWE, obviously on some kind of podcast drive, but you know, the Cody stuff's really good. The Steph stuff's really good. The Sam, what's his name? Sam Ross or Sam Rollins or whatever his name. Yeah, Sam Roberts. You know, the recaps that they do, they're all really cool. And shout out to the whole wrestling community, because anyone that does anything involving our genre, you know, mad love, because there was a time where it was taboo to like wrestling, and perhaps some people still feel that now, but I was one of those guys that when I was 17, 18, 19, with the man Dirty Dave, walking into nightclubs with DX t-shirts on, or Kurt Angle t-shirts on, or Stone Cold Steve Austin. And watching this program may be insightful for those naysayers, you know. It just goes to show how much hard work goes into the product, rather than, oh my God, I can't believe that they're disclosing this information. It's bonkers.
And if nothing else, as we've established earlier on, the viewership for the product, you compare F1's viewership within from before Drive to Survive to now, and the popularity it's gained.
Yeah.
If it's anything like Drive to Survive, we are about to see WWE and wrestling as a whole take off like not since the 90s. So
invested in characters. That's what it is. You look at programs like Love Island and Married at First Sight. You know, you watch it and you think, oh, this is dross, and let's face it, on the surface it is dross. But if you continue to watch it, you build relationships with certain characters that you bond with. Mm-hmm. It's going to be no different to this. No different to this. So I am all for it. And with that is our last hot take. I do just want to ask Andy a quick question. Did you see our video last week about all-time favourite commentary teams?
No,
on the hot take.
Sorry,
so someone put a question out on Facebook, I think it was, saying who's your favourite commentary team of all time. I think the choices were Gorilla Monsoon and Vince McMahon, Bobby Heenan and Jesse Ventura, Corey Graves and Michael Cole, Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, and there might have been one more that I've missed.
You want my answer?
Yeah, of course.
Jesus Christ. It's a hard one, man. Real hard.
Oh, Tony Schiavone and Mike Tenay from WCW.
So, there's part of me that wants to say Mike Tenay and Don West from TNA, because they were fucking excellent back in the day. Don West, who wasn't a wrestling commentator, was gold, rest his soul. But again, I will throw out random ones like Michael Cole and Taz. I loved Michael Cole and Taz back in the early days of SmackDown, around sort of 2002 to 2005. I still think, ultimately, the GOATs, it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up between JR's involved with both.
You've got to say one, and it's got to be one. Your life doesn't depend on it. Just pick one.
JR and Paul Heyman from 2001.
God. You didn't even pick from the list. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the show, this is Andi Nero's take. He doesn't follow the rules. He just fucking goes on his own. Yeah, mine was JR and Jerry Lawler.
That was my other option.
Well, then that has to be the option, because they're the only choices.
If we're picking from the list, then it's JR and Jerry Lawler. If we're not picking from the list, it's JR and Paul Heyman.
Dave picked Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan. I think, Bobby Heenan and was it Bobby Heenan, Jesse Ventura, or Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon? I think it was one of them.
Bobby
two.
and Gorilla, Jesse and Vince. But
yeah, so it was Bobby and Gorilla. Yeah, definitely.
Colour me shocked that he went for classics.
Yeah, he went for classics. Apparently, they helped his vocab and learned lots about wrestling. You know, childhood stuff. But interesting. Right, ladies and gentlemen, this has gone on longer than I thought, so I hope you have enjoyed the second episode of Hot Takes. We will be bringing it to you next week. Obviously, we do love interaction here. If anyone wants to comment and leave a hot take, we'll mention it next week. So shout out to all the subscribers and viewers. We hope you enjoyed the show. And join us next week for our weekly episodes of Holler If You Hear Me Weekly and Hot Takes. And SummerSlam predictions.
And predictions. We've got
big
week.
Get
big
excited.
Week next week.
Yeah, big week. And don't forget to watch Unreal. WWE Unreal. It's going to be epic.
Mm-hmm.
Adios, amigos.
Ta-da.